Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to cover all the wood that surrounds your windows. You know, especially like back east, people have to do so much maintenance on these window sills, and in some cases they end up having to get them replaced. I sell a product that allows you to cover this windowsill so you never have to paint it again and you don't have to replace it. It's a vinyl extrusion sill wrap material that's going to fit right on here. And then I also sell another piece. Actually, I sell several different sizes of this piece that will wrap the rest of the wood, the brick molding or whatever trim you have that goes up the sides and across the top of your window. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to wrap the wood. Okay, the first thing you need to do is you need to measure the length of your windowsill. Have a helper hold the tape on there for you. I'm going to do this myself, but have someone hold the tape and you just measure the length of your sill. We're 50.5 is our dimension. Now, you don't cut it 50.5. The reason being, after you put that on, you're going to cap the ends. And this is a sill cap. Okay, this cap in most cases will do both ends of a windowsill because it's 6 inches long, and most sills, like our sill here, sticks out 1 3/4 inches. So I'm only going to have to cut 1 3/4 inches on each side. You would have to have a sill that sticks out more than 3 inches for this not to do both sides. Okay, but you'll notice it has legs on it. Those legs are where you put your adhesive, your sealant, when you attach it to the sides. You don't want those legs interfering here with the end of your sill. So you actually cut your sill wrap piece longer than the actual sill. And since these legs are 5/8 of an inch long, I used to cut 3/4. I'd add another 1/8 just to be safe. So I would cut 3/4 long on each side, which is 1.5 inches. So if you take our 50.5 inches, add 1.5 inches, we're going to cut that to 52. Okay, you'll notice on the website that I sell these the sill wrap extrusions in certain sizes. So what you want to do is you want to get the next biggest size to what your sill measures. Don't forget to add that 1.5 inches to overlap. This is a 5-foot piece, 60 inch. I'm going to cut it down to 52. Okay, so you make your mark. I use a little square here to make my mark. You know, you can use whatever you've got. Okay, and then this is the best way to cut this stuff. You can use a hacksaw. If all you have is a hacksaw and you're not doing a lot of them, you can use a hacksaw. If you've got the chop saw like this, this is the way to go. Make sure you use a blade though. You'll notice on this blade, it's multiple teeth, it's carbide, you'll get a smooth cut. If you get a blade with fewer teeth, it's a little rougher cut and it can chip your vinyl. So try to get a blade like this, okay, and make sure it's got carbide tooth, okay? So you cut your length. Wear glasses. I forget to do that, but especially here, you should wear glasses because that stuff's flying up, and it's better safe than sorry. Okay, once you've cut the length, now we're going to go back and I'm going to show you how to notch the sides. Okay, before we go any farther with notching, I want to show you how to prep your sill. A lot of times you're going to have paint. Let me show you this one. This is a perfect example. This paint, you see how it's peeling off. You don't want to put your sill wrap on something like this because you're binding, you're putting your adhesive on something that's loose. So you want to scrape this. You want to get this as clean as you can. If you've got, let's say some of it is peeling and some of it isn't, you don't have to get all of it off. But the stuff that's like this, that's flaking off, you want to get all of that up before you go any farther. Something else also is if you have rot, if your window sills are rotting and you can push on this one doesn't have any rot, but in your case, if you can push and the tool goes right in there and the wood is just rotted, what you can do is you dig out the rotted wood, clean it out, and then go to the hardware store and get yourself something like this. It's plastic wood. It's wood filler. Okay, you put that in, you smooth it out. You want it to be smooth on top here where your sill wrap's going to go. Let it fully dry before you actually install the sill wrap piece. Okay, so you want to make sure you get rid of any loose paint, and you want to make sure that you patch any rot. Okay, if you have a belt sander, after you've scraped all the loose paint, you can take a wood belt and run your sander on it, and you can really clean off every little bit of paint. We're not going to do that here, but you can take this right down to the wood if you're so inclined to do that. Okay, now let me show you how we have to notch. See, we're going to put this up, and we have to make sure, have your helper hold the other side. Make sure that you're 3/4 of an inch hanging off the end on both sides, and then have your helper hold this. Now you have to determine how much of this part you have to cut off so that this part of your sill wrap piece meets in here, meets up against the face of the sill. So you just put a tape measure in here, and you measure out to this point here where it's going to touch. That's how much you have to cut off. Okay, we've got about 2 3/8 that we have to cut off. 2 7/16. Okay, so what I want to do then is I want to mark on here back 2 7/16 so that, okay, I had to go get my pencil. That's why we had to cut. So you want to put a mark on here. I'm cutting 2 7/16. Okay, that's how much I have to cut off so that this meets this. Okay, now what I have to determine is how much I have to cut this way to clear what wood you have here. Okay, so you put it back on. Make sure you're 3/4. You're hanging off 3/4. Okay, then take a straight edge, and let me get my straight edge. And you want to put the straight edge up against your wood here, and make sure you're flat on here, and you're up against the wood. Okay, that's how much you need to notch. So when you slide this in, it clears the wood here. Okay, so you just draw a line on there. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to go out there and we're going to draw. We got this line going this way. Then I'm going to draw a line going this way, and this little bit in here is what I have to notch to get in here, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, once you've got your marks drawn, okay, now you have to cut this out. There's a couple of ways you can do it. In my opinion, the easiest way is with the jigsaw, because you don't have to cut any pre-drill any holes or anything. You just follow your mark and just go up to the other mark. Just put your jigsaw in there and do that on both sides. But what I want to show you is, if you don't have a jigsaw, then what you want to do is you want to pre-drill a hole right in the corner where those two lines meet, like this. And then you want to take either your plastic cutting tool or utility knife, put something on there straight, and that's just a simple ruler. Anything will really work. And just cut, make sure you cut several times to get through there. You may have to cut 8 to 10 times, okay, to get through there, and you do it on both sides, and then this just breaks off. But I'm going to go ahead and do it with the jigsaw. You want to do that on both sides. Okay, after you've cut your notch, take a file and just get any burrs off of there that you might have on there. Get it nice and smooth, okay? And then we're ready to go to the next step. Okay, now once you've reached this point where you've got it notched, depending on whether you're replacing your windows at the same time or if your windows have already been replaced, you may have to do one extra step. If you haven't replaced your windows yet, what you want to do before you start this project, you want to put your window in like we've done here, but you don't want to finish here. On slope-silled windows like this, most manufacturers don't include a slope on the outside of their window. You have to add a piece. We have a piece that came with this window that we're gonna add here. Before you put that last piece on the outside, you put your wrap in. The reason being, as you can see here, when you slide it in, it goes underneath your window. Okay? If you had this piece on there, you're going to hit it before you get on, all the way on. So that's the extra step that you're going to have to do if you've already had the windows replaced and the bottom is sealed. Not always, but in most cases, this length is going to be too long and you're going to be hitting here. So how do you fix that? Same as we did here. You're going to find that you're still not hitting in here because you're hitting here. You take your tape measure and now you determine how far more you have to cut to get this part of your wrap against this part of your sill. Whatever distance that is, now you're cutting this length here. Okay, you're cutting this off so that it'll hit here and this will hit here. Okay, I always cut a little more than I have to because you're going to be caulking all the joints, all the seams, and if you're a little short here, you're going to put a bead of caulk in there anyway. If you don't cut enough, you're going to hit and you're not going to hit here. So cut a little more than you need. Okay, we're not going to do that step, but I am going to show you the options you have on cutting lengths like this. Okay, one of the ways you can cut lengths like this is with a table saw. Have a helper on one side and just slowly feed it through. I don't have a table saw here, but that's one way to do it. If you don't have a table saw, the jigsaw will work. I have found that for whatever reason, the jigsaw, when you get into the middle of where you're cutting, it starts to vibrate. I don't use the jigsaw, but you could try it. It might work for you. And of course, the simplest way, get something straight and fairly, rigid that won't flex on you. Make your marks where you want to cut. Put your straight edge, whatever it is, on your product. Clamp it on. Okay, I'm using these. This is a makeshift workbench. Whatever you've got that works, and you just clamp this on, and now you're ready to use one of these, whichever one. I prefer the plastic cutter. I think it's a better tool. And you just hold this in place or have a helper hold it for you and just start cutting over and over. You want to, when you cut into this, you'll see it digs in and it scrapes plastic and makes a groove. Okay, I would say at least 5 cuts. That's 2, 3, 4. Let's go 6. Okay, then take a pair of pliers and just grab where you made the cut and just bend it like this. All the way down. Then you can can snap it off. Just work it back and forth like this. Okay, then take get rid of all this excess, and then take your file. Well, I don't have, here's my file. And just, you know, smooth it out. It doesn't matter, I mean, you know, it'll come out real nice, real straight, but even if you have a little variation, this area is getting caulked. This is what would be touching the bottom of your window. You're going to put a bead of caulk there, and you're going to hide that anyway. So just keep that in mind. But I like to clean it up a little bit before I put it on there. Okay, we're ready to install the sill wrap. You want to get a adhesive that's a extreme weather product. It stays flexible. This is made by DAP. It's called Dynaflex 230. It stays flexible from -40 to about 150. So you should be covered. You don't want something that's not designed for extreme weather, especially the cold weather. What will happen is the adhesive will get brittle if you get too cold for the product, and this extrusion can pop loose because the adhesive gets brittle. So get something like DAP Dynaflex 230. Then what you want to do is you want to run a bead of it. We're going to go underneath this window, but if this window was done, we would be going up to it. You want to stay maybe an inch away from where the window ends, and you want to run a continuous bead. And then you want to run another one near the back edge of this, about an inch away. And then you want to, I always put two beads here, one near the top and one near the bottom. Or you can just run a squiggly line. You know, you could you could do this. I mean, it does the same thing. Okay, this is what it looks like. You got two beads across the top, about an inch away from the back, an inch away from the front, squiggly on the face. Clean up your extrusion in here before you put it on. You don't want a lot of dirt and stuff on there getting where the adhesive is. Okay, then when you set it in, just guide it. Stay up above it. Don't drag through the adhesive. Get up in here and then just slide it on. Okay, and then just push down here like this, and then push on the face just like that. Okay, we're done with part one. Now we have to put our caps on the end, and I'll show you how to do that next.
Go ahead.
Okay, you measure for we're going to cut our cap. Just measure against whatever structure here, and you're measuring to the outside of this, not the inside, because you want your cap to come flush with the outside. Okay, we're coming up with 1 13/16. So we're going to cut that 1 13/16, and it's going to fit right in there like that. You measure and cut both sides. When you cut this, again, you can use, you don't want to use the hand tools that I showed you, like the plastic cutter. That won't cut through. You can use a hacksaw, you can use a table saw, a chop saw, and you can use the jigsaw as well. But this stuff, the carpet knife, utility knife, this won't cut through. This is thicker stuff. Okay. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to apply adhesive, sealant, to the legs. There's a little nub on here. Okay, that's always the outside, because you want the part that you cut is the rough part. You want that going against the structure, because you're gonna seal that when you're done. You want the smooth machine part out here. One thing I've noticed, if you put these in, whoever designed this product, they were a little bit off. It's not a perfect fit. It's a little bit loose, and because of that, sometimes you're not going to line up exactly on your edges. They're not going to be flush. If you're a perfectionist or an engineer, I've dealt with a lot of engineers, and it's amazing how precise they can be. You can make this more accurate by buying, let me get you some big ones and show you what I use. These are coffee stirrers. You can buy these at Smart and Final, if it's in your area. You can get a box of, I think, 1,000 for under $5. It's the perfect thickness to make this work. And what you do is you cut off a couple of little pieces like that, and when you, well, let me show you. I'll show you how I do it. Here's the one we've cut. I take and I put my adhesive on each leg. You don't need much. Okay, and then I take one of these sticks and I set it in the bed like that on the adhesive, and it shims this just enough to where everything seems to line up better. Okay, now you have to, when you go in, set your bottom in first, because you don't want to knock the clips off. Then you can raise with one finger, you can raise this part up and snap that in. Okay, that seems to give you a little better fit than without using them. You can try it yourself, and you know, if it's okay without them, fine, but I just wanted to show you that. Okay, do it on both sides like that, and then the next step I'm going to show you how to cover this wood.